So today I want to share with you 6 terrible mistakes that are committed by insurance companies which inhibit them from getting as many clients as they should actually get. Well, my name is Ozasim Cheriwa and I've worked for 16 years in the insurance industry, and I'm passionate about helping people that are in sales, apart from the insurance industry, to build and sharpen their sales skills and get more revenues in the process. So having worked for so long in the industry, I have that passion because I see these mistakes being continued by the insurance practitioners. So I want to share with you these mistakes and then the corrective measures that they should take, which I believe if they do, they may realize a significant rise in the sales that they normally get. So what is mistake number 1? This is the potential buyer pyramid. I learned this from Chet Holmes. It contributed a lot to the way that I understand sales. So Chet says that at any given point, there's 3% of the population that are in the buying mode. They're actually buying now for whatever product that you are selling. There's generally 3% of the population that are buying now, and then there's a 7% that is open to it. If you talk to them, they can buy your product. Then we have 30% that is not thinking about it, and another 30% they don't think they are interested in your product, and then the last 30% they are actually sure they are not interested. So what is mistake number 1 that insurance companies make is that they focus on the top 3% of the clients or potential clients that are buying now. Hence, you see them going for tenders. These are clients that are in the buying mode. So if you focus on those, it's not bad, but you are leaving out the other 90%. So a few daring ones go for the 7% that are open to it. They talk to them about the insurance products and they buy, and then they think they have done enough. When I was an insurance broker, I remember I approached this prospect. It was quite a large organization, but they had no insurance. I spoke to them about my insurance products and the services that I could give them as an insurance broker. And on that same meeting, I managed to seal the deal with the client. Why? Because I had found this client already in the 3% buying mode. They were actually in motion to buy insurance. It's just that I got in as an insurance broker, but they'd already identified the insurance company they wanted to deal with and the projects that they wanted to get. So I just got in as an insurance broker and I just helped them facilitate the process. So if you look at me then, you'd come to me for advice and say, how did you manage to close this sale? And I was going to give you wrong advice again, because everything I did was the wrong thing in terms of the presentation that I did. But because the client was already in the buying mode, they bought my product, because I went there and just went to talk and presented my products. So mistake number 1 that insurance companies make is focusing on the 3% that are already buying now. And then mistake number 2 that insurance companies make is that they compete against other insurers, okay? They compete against other insurance companies. That's a mistake. Even if you are not in insurance or you don't compete against fellow organizations in your industry, that's a mistake because you are focusing on the wrong target. Insurance companies should not compete against other insurance companies. What should they compete against? They should compete against the status quo. What do I mean? If you look at this 30% that is uninsured, it means that they are happy with the status quo. If you look at the insurance penetration rate in Africa, it's less than 2%, which means that there's a vast majority of potential clients that are not insured. They are within these categories. It's not always because of poverty, because people can rush to say, no, they don't have insurance because they cannot afford. It's not always about affordability. It's about the way that insurance is being presented to them. So the 90% here is where the money is. These are the clients that really matter, that make the difference. But the insurance companies are focusing on the 3% and the 7%. So they are mostly dealing with the 10%, but the 90% is being left uninsured. So why do I say that it's a mistake to compete against fellow insurers? Because these are not your enemy. They are also just trying to get the business, but the real business is here. But what is impeding you from getting the business? This is not taken by other insurance companies. This is taken by maintenance of the status quo. So if you fight the status quo, you'll be able to unlock all this potential. How do you unlock this potential now? By the ability to avoid mistake number 3. What is mistake number 3? Mistake number 3 is that insurance companies believe that they can sell by understanding product knowledge. So they believe that you sell as a result of product knowledge. Okay, so what do? They train their people on insurance knowledge. Even when I was in insurance, I don't remember how many courses I attended on insurance. I know insurance in and out, but I never attended on any single day a sales training, which then says you have learned everything you need to know about the product. Now, come and learn how to sell that product. I never had that training, and I can bet the majority of insurance people, even that I train today, when I ask them who has ever attended a sales training, 99%, if not 100% of them, they confess that they never attended a sales training. But if you ask them about how many product trainings they've attended, there are numerous products training. So they believe that by understanding the product, by gaining product knowledge, you are able to sell. Which brings us to mistake number 4, which is they believe again that the prospect will buy as a result of product knowledge. So because of that, all the product knowledge that they've gotten, they take it and they dump it to the prospect in the pretext of selling. So they go to the client and they start presenting their products and they believe they are selling. How do they do it? They go to a sales meeting with a client. What do? They start talking about their company's mission, vision, values, and the products that they offer, right? And then they leave the prospect with a lot of other literature for the prospect to read and understand the product, believing that when the client understands the product, they are going to buy the product. It doesn't work that way. The client's decision to buy is a decision to change. What triggers the decision to change is understanding of the status quo, that it's not good for them. So when they understand that their situation, their position is not the best to be in, they are exposed, they are vulnerable. Once they understand that, they start to make a decision to change and move to the buying now. But what makes that is not knowledge about the product. It's knowledge about their vulnerability. And that can only be done by an expert salesperson. If you are able to sell, you are able to get them to understand that their situation is precarious. Then mistake number 5. What is mistake number 5 that insurance companies make? They underestimate the importance of listening. Okay, I'll just put listening here. They underestimate the importance of listening. Why? Because it is again tied to the belief that in order for the client to buy, they have to understand the product. And in order for me to sell as an insurance agent, I have to understand the product. So when I go in front of the prospect, so instead of listening to them about their situation, about their needs, I believe they can only buy if they understand my product. So I'm not going to listen to understand their situation, but I'm going to push my products to them. And in so doing, I am actually alienating the prospect. Because if the prospect is here, they are sure that they are not interested in my product, and I come and explain my product, will that get them to want my product? The chances are between slim and none. But if I show them that they are exposed, they need my product, then they will be able to change and say, I really need this product. So it's up to me now to have the skill of listening. But what do you listen to? You first of all need to have the skill to ask thought-provoking questions, probing questions. I would encourage you to listen to the video that I posted last time, which is called Selling Secrets from Ancient Wisdom, where I was talking about Socratic selling, where you learn the asking skills of Socrates. How should you be able to ask questions that are probing, that are thought-provoking, which reveals to the client as they are responding to your questions, it reveals to them that they are exposed. They need your product. That's a skill. So underestimating the importance of listening causes insurance people to talk a lot. So you'll find most of them in their sales presentations or in sales meetings, they speak and talk 80% of the times, and the client only speaks 20%, if not less than that. And that is a terrible mistake. Then mistake number 6 that insurance personnel make is to sell the product prematurely. They sell prematurely. Yes, selling the product prematurely will only result in a no sale. Why? Like I said, They get to the meeting, they talk about their company, and then they talk about their products. The moment you are talking about your products, you are already selling. But you are selling to a prospect that is not seeing the need for what you are selling. So what should you do? You should start by probing in order for them to get to a position where they see their vulnerability. Once they see that they are extremely vulnerable and they need to be protected, then your product comes in. But what do? We sell prematurely, and that's a mistake. It's like watering a garden that is extremely dry. The water will simply run off. But if you till the fallow ground, then the water can come in. That's the same with selling. You first of all need to ask some probing questions. And when you ask those questions, the client will realize that they're exposed. They need this product or service that you're offering. And when they get to that position, then you sell to them. So these are 6 terrible mistakes that I discovered as I worked in insurance, which I still see being done even today. And I believe if you are in insurance and you correct these mistakes, you realize your closing rate can start going up. Even if you are not in insurance, just look at the product that you are offering and try to compare if you are falling into this trap. If so, make these small corrections and you realize as certain as night follows day, your sales rate is going to increase. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I would encourage you to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that every time we upload these educational videos, the YouTube algorithm will notify you and you will not miss these sales educational videos to help you improve your sales.